And teachers as well, yeah.
Certainly, and that's why it might be the August meeting, not next month, but I wrote it down because I think that and the mastery are two things that we want to stay on top of.
How do you want to word that for August agenda then?
Reporting
Yeah, Assessment
I think
detail.
reporting
assessment
assessments.
detail.
assessment, yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's reporting of common assessments.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really say that because that could just mean the report card.
But we just want it for the agenda
What
item.
we want is like, but what we're specifically talking about is assessment
Yeah,
detail.
yeah, so I think reporting of common assessment detail, right,
Okay.
okay.
Gina, I've made note of the one topic that, you briefly mentioned earlier that was in regard to your email regarding like the personnel evaluation and such. If you feel that that needs to be an agenda item, you can advance it. Another option is to, when we review Board of Education roles, responsibilities, and protocols as part of the board goal setting, we can include it in there to come to some common understanding in terms of what the role of the board is in personnel evaluation. So I'm going to
I don't need
what is your sense?
I don't need it to be an agenda item. I just felt that, because the personnel report has already been approved, I just, felt, my personal feeling is that as a steward of the taxpayers' money, I have to do my due diligence to, make sure that that these are warranted.
But then we should define what that looks like and come to a common understanding, as a board, so that information that is
For the future.
absolutely.
That's fine.
So I don't want to dismiss it just because the personnel report was approved.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying,
Yes.
It's something you can advance if you want it for next agenda, or, I've just jotted it down as a note here.
You can just throw it in the parking lot if you want, but, hopefully,
You never know when the parking lot.
hopefully you would get it,
Put it
before
under the Board
next
of
year.
Ed's roles and responsibilities.
Put in parentheses, how like when we advance a new hire like this, the same day, I didn't feel comfortable asking questions about that in open forum.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so I've got that down, okay? All right, anything else for next month? Open forum? Anyone in the audience, please?
I'd like to say something. I'm Kim Barker, I'm from Willow Springs. I have two boys in the school district, one going into sixth.
Please to the board secretary, or no,
Sure.
Erica. Thank you very much.
Can I give one to everybody else too? Just her, the whole pile.
I have something to present. I thought it was relevant. It's kind of from a conglomeration of a few people. I'm also on the parent advisory committee. And I thought this was timely, and I know it's late, so I'm going to talk as fast as I can because I know everyone wants to go home.
Take your time.
But I think it's relevant because you're talking about district goals and communication plans, and I think this is a timely spot to put it in a meeting. I have handouts. Obviously, I can't pass them out, so I guess you'll just have to pay attention. The first question I have for the board is, what is the status and the implementation plan for standards-based grading? And I know Dr. Fredesdorf, you talked a bit about, now we're moving that to after the first trimester. I think that as a district, we need to have clear communication and a clear path on where we're going, and it seems like we're really not sure. We keep changing our minds, we keep putting it off, we're not sure where we're going. And we really need to determine who's conducting the further study that Dr. Fredesdorf referenced in his last email about no changes will be implemented until further study has been conducted. The Parent Advisory Committee to date has not discussed anything about standards-based grading, so, and that was one of our key responsibilities as I understood it from the invite letter. The next question I have is, did the school board review the parent survey feedback on standards-based grading? If you consolidated the data like we have, over 68% of Pleasantdale elementary and middle school parents surveyed regarding standards-based grading do not want their child to take another class in standards-based grading. I think that speaks volumes for what our district plans on doing and what the parents want. I don't understand how a school district can even discuss moving forward without parental support because we are your key stakeholders. Also, those same 68% of parents surveyed indicated that their child was not motivated to learn using standard-based grading approach. I guess I'm concerned that will unmotivated students be passionate learners, which is a key point in our mission statement. If parents are perceiving their kids as not motivated, and we want passionate learners, those two things are categorically opposite. What did our teachers think of the SPG pilot? A lot of you probably saw my letter that I sent to the board. I think it was gross negligence that we didn't survey our teachers in a timely fashion. We surveyed kids as young as 8 years old, but we didn't ask our teachers what happened in any standard format. Personally, I think that was just a huge error, and I think several people agree with me on that. I think they would have had valuable information to glean from that survey, and now we've lost that time. Memory fades, and we don't have that information any longer. I'd like to ask also, what's the purpose of the Parent Advisory Committee? The initial purpose was to advise on matters including but not limited to standards-based grading and reporting strategies that were piloted early in the school year. That was what was in the initial invite letter. Our purpose changed over time to just provide specific recommendations on proposed grading and reporting changes to the Curriculum Council. As a parent and a member of that committee, the objective of the committee changed midway through. I'm not sure why. We had 5 meetings to date, and I felt like we could have accomplished a bit more. We were asked to read 3 chapters in a book, the Marzano book. We agreed via consensus that we want our children to be critical thinkers. We prepared a list of questions related to SPG for the town hall meeting, really to give the presenters a heads up on, what the questions that we had for them would be. We ranked what was important to see on the report card, which I've included in here. We reviewed 2 versions of 3 levels of report cards and provided feedback, which I thought was valuable. And then we provided detailed feedback on further attempts. I appreciated your conversation on further attempts. If you could see my packet, there were several things that you guys talked about. Obviously, we couldn't say anything about it, but that were clearly missed on there, and I've highlighted them in the packets that I hope if you get a chance to look at, you can include in your further discussion on it, because I thought there were valuable points from the committee and were on the recap that was provided by the district. To date, we have not seen anything, as I mentioned before, as it related to SBG. It was never on an agenda. We did not discuss the results of our SBG pilot at all, the pros and cons. I thought that was incredibly relevant because 7 out of the 23 people on the Parent Advisory Committee did not experience that pilot. So they have no background into what happened in order to help improve it. We also did not review any recommendations from the Curriculum Council. Again, if the whole point of the Parent Advisory Committee initially was to talk about standards-based grading, if we do plan on moving forward, how can we move forward without the Parent Advisory Committee reviewing a plan of action for SBG? If we do decide to move forward on SBG, my next question is, how are we defining and measuring success? And I believe, Leandra, you mentioned that as well, some clear guidelines on things. One of the things that scares us, quite honestly, to death is that we're modeling ourselves off of Douglas County Elementary School and middle schools. And doing some research and doing some digging, I don't really know if anyone has had time to do it, but I spent the time doing it myself. And what concerns me is that they take a test called the Colorado Student Assessment Program. Bev Clemens stated that they are measuring the success of SBG through standardized test scores. The test they take is the CSAP. After digging into their raw data, they measure it 2 different ways, by school subject and year, grade subject and year. If you look at it both ways, between 59 to 60% of all grade levels, all testing, have either stayed the same or gone down. My opinion is that why would we want to model that when our scores are averaging a 3% increase every year? We heard Dr. Wick saying we're going up at great rates, it's going to be hard to keep that. They are going down. That's the model that the board, the school has given us to look at, and they are either staying the same or going down over 60% of the time. I don't feel that that's where I want my kid to go. I don't feel that a lot of other parents think that too, or I feel that other parents think that too. I've provided the raw data in there too, so you guys can look at that, because I think it would be valuable. Again, I don't know, just being on the Parent Advisory Committee, if anyone's gone into that detail yet. Also, another point, rather than citing schools around the world or country, Naperville North and Central high schools have implemented SBG and are extending that to their middle schools. Jefferson Middle School is the furthest along in that process. I would think we would call on a neighbor before we'd go across the country, because it's totally different dynamics and totally different socioeconomic backgrounds. In addition, the assistant principal, Jeff Howard, is a Pleasantdale alum. and the parent leader, Lisa Pollock, both are willing to come to share their experiences